Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
and today we are joined by none other than Matt Mitchell.
That's me.
I'm Matt Mitchell.
I think you can say my own name.
That's
I'm
true.
Donovan too.
Usually do let people
Was
say
the
their
last
name.
time you were on was that Bloodshot?
Yes.
Was it the only time you've been on?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That
There
makes
is-
sense. Checks out.
One thing happened this week. They have announced that they are moving forward with Bloodshot 2.
I did. I am. Yeah.
So
looking forward to it.
you'll
Yeah.
at least be on the podcast one more time.
Well, we'll see.
At least.
Well, we would have had already another episode of Mandalorian. And if you're watching this, you're like, they're putting this out and 3 episodes have already happened for season 2. Why is Donovan and Daniel not like putting out more content? Well, here's the kicker. We actually are trying to put more content out, but then we have internal sabotage happening. And we recorded an episode and we had some technical difficulties, didn't we?
No, I mean, honestly, I think the computer just didn't want to hear anything Donovan had to say, which, to be fair, I don't think you would have too. He was just comparing it to like weird, I don't know, like anime shit. I don't know what he was doing last week.
Well, let's see if the computer can handle today, because today we were talking 3 episodes of The Mandalorian Season 2.
right.
And of course, if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you're up to date on all future episodes. And so let's do this real quick.
Well,
3 episodes.
Let me just say too.
You know how it goes.
Good song.
Let me just say too that it was very sad to lose some content, but in retrospect, talking about these first 3 episodes of Mandalorian actually, I think, is a good thing to talk about together, just as far as what happens across these 3 episodes, especially in episode 3. I just think there's going to be a lot more meat to deal with, and we have actually a fuller picture of where this season is going now at episode 3.
Don't be fooled. There was plenty of meat the last episode.
There was some good stuff.
But now I'm here
Yeah,
to,
exactly.
to flavor it.
So should we just start with episode 1?
Yes.
Just so
we
we're
can.
not- yeah.
So episode 1 is titled The Marshal. And we had Timothy Oliphant come in, of course, a great character to play like a cowboy kind of Western guy.
One of those guys that as soon as you see him on screen, you're like, he's not done with this show yet.
Yeah,
He'll
he
be
also,
back.
also when you first see him, you realize he looks terrible in the Boba Fett suit.
Because he looks
Yeah, he
it's
looks
not-
like
It's
a
not
little.
made for him, which makes sense. It wasn't made for him, but he
He looks like a little kid
Yeah.
cosplaying.
he's
Yeah,
got,
it does.
he's got a scar.
like his belly's hanging out. He's not like got a belly, his
Yeah.
stomach showing like because
Right.
he's too tall.
Well, Timothy Oliphant's just this weird, lanky, slender man looking guy
Sure.
anyway.
It's true.
So we have him, of course, and Boba Fett is on Tatooine, and he's looking for new and more Mandalorians. And of course, he goes to Tatooine because of
The rumors.
the rumors. And if you're thinking, oh, maybe Boba Fett, instead we're getting this guy who took the armor on the night of Return of the Jedi, or at least in that vicinity where the Empire fallen, and we had some pirate raiders or something come in, and eventually
It turns into your classic
save
Western
the town.
save the town, and even Shogun, classic Shogun save the town narrative, where you've got the sheriff that's been doing as best he can, but is overwhelmed at this point by some scary force. And then you've got the Mandalorian who rides in casually for some other reason,
And
but
Matt,
gets roped into saving the day.
What is the thing that the marshal it gets or Bando? What's the thing that they have to do?
Well, Mando's coming because he finds out the Marshal's he's not an actual Mandalorian
Right.
because he was like, well, you can't wear the armor. I need that armor. And he's like, I'll give it to you if you'll help me kill was it Great Dragon?
Crate
Crate
Dragon.
Dragon. Would you kill those in like what's Old Republic or something?
No, yeah. So
it's in a game.
It's
right?
in Knights of the Old Republic. So
Yeah.
in Knights of the Old Republic back, I believe that came out in 2004 or 5. So a while back, but still one of the best RPGs that have ever been created. Go to hell if you don't agree with that. Anyway, you go to Tatooine. You go to a lot of different planets. That's part of the fun. But you go to Tatooine, and part of what you do there is also kill a crate dragon. It's similar. Obviously, the one in this one looked way more menacing and giant and more dragonish.
More fit.
The one in the KOTOR
Yeah.
kind of looked like a giant monitor lizard, all said and done. With wings. Well, no, it didn't have wings. I don't know.
Well, one thing I did like.
Sorry, I was just going to lastly say that you kill that dragon the exact same way. You have to put explosives in something he eats.
Oh,
he
that's
eats
cool.
it, and then it explodes, and he dies.
That's really cool.
So
I didn't know.
yeah, we'll get to that, but they have some good callbacks there.
Okay, that's cool. The one thing I did like, and it does tie to Boba Fett, is they were like, oh, he's living in like a Sarlacc pit. And he's like, there's not an empty Sarlacc pit. And he's like, well, there is if he eats the Sarlacc, which is also where Boba Fett supposedly died.
Yeah,
he's in a Sarlacc
followed
pit.
in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And in the Legends lore, Boba Fett kills the Sarlacc.
He climbs out of it.
He kills it and then climbs out. Yeah. So I'm still wondering just myself if maybe Boba Fett still did kill it and the crate dragon just ate an already dead one.
Yeah. How'd he kill it? Does it ever say?
I don't. They do it in a comic series. I think
Yeah.
that's. I don't think I ever read that one. I think he just shoots it a bunch.
What I would do.
Yeah.
Get the job done.
Shoots it a bunch.
One
yeah.
other cool thing about the Krayt Dragon, of course, from A New Hope, was whenever the Tusken Raiders, which we see a
Right.
lot of this episode,
Oh,
their
this-
culture
yeah.
was actually when Obi-Wan does the Krayt Dragon roar, that way to kind of scare off the Raiders whenever they're fixing to get Luke. So it's another kind of, especially when Mando's
Absolutely.
in front of the dragon and he does his roar. It's kind of like a big callback to that because
Yeah.
everyone makes fun of George's
That yell.
change
Yeah.
from the special editions
Yeah.
later, and it kind of is kind of weird. So
Do
that's a
you-
cool callback.
Do you know if it uses the special edition roar?
It's not because I listened to it and it doesn't sound like it's like
I'm sure
just-
they made their own.
yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just not related to.
Yeah, I think it's just that
It's
one's just
supposed to
so
be the same
bad.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just that one's just so bad. But
it
other
was.
cool things. So we of course we get the Marshal and Mando teaming up. Baby Yoda's off with the woman who from a few episodes in season
And let
one.
me just say, I still don't love her character. I still
either.
feel like she would be perfect in a cartoon, but how she acts and presents herself in a live action, it's just, it's hard for me to believe this is something that would exist in real life Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
She's like
She
a
just-
stand-up comedian.
She,
character.
no, but like you could literally draw her in
She
cartoon
is.
form, the big hair, the like being
Yeah.
loud. And she's perfect. She's exactly what you would find in like a Star Wars cartoon. That would work great. But
she doesn't feel like she is in Star Wars universe.
she doesn't.
I've always felt that way.
she just feels forced.
I feel like she would be in Roseanne.
oh yeah,
That's what she feels like.
You're right, yeah.
That's what it feels like. Like,
You're
oh,
Roseanne
right.
without
it
the
actually looks
bigotry.
like Roseanne's daughter, kind of with her curly
yeah,
hair.
the poofy hair.
Yeah. And of course, they're teaming up, and they're with the Tusken Raiders, and you're getting some cool culture there, and kind of making the Tusken Raiders a little more empathetic because you're learning
Yeah.
about or sympathetic.
Yeah, because the town hates them because they're Tusken Raiders, and they raid them in a Tusken way.
Yeah.
And then, midway through, they're like, well, we're going to stop this crate dragon. But it's like, well, it's too big. We need more people.
Sure.
Right.
So the towns team up. So you get to see them actually like work with
Together.
people, which you never see. Like the only time I've ever seen, I guess, because I'm not a huge extended lore person, but I mean, only in The Mandalorian do you ever see anyone, and it's just him in like the first season when he like makes a deal for them to not kill him.
Right. When he gives
They
them
give him the speeder
egg
back
or something. Is that in
No, that's
episode 2?
Jawas.
Oh, it's Jawas.
That's
right.
Jawas. But no, like they stop and he gives them the binoculars and stuff. And
he trades with them.
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like episode 5, and they're like, okay, we can go for free passage.
Yeah.
The kid's like, that was brand new. And he's like, yes, it was. And he gives it to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Well, what I like about too, and I think I just realized is there's a lot of like parallels to like Native American, like
There is, yeah.
the Native American stories about
The
when the
Tusken
colonists came in. Yeah, because the Tusken Raiders are native Tatooines. You would
Yeah.
assume most of the people that are there aren't because they are from all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like the natives have
You
always
don't
been
think that
at this
Mantis
land.
guy's from there?
Who?
That Mantis guy's playing cards?
The Mantis guy.
Guy who
He's playing cards with a Mantis.
Was there a quick shot? I'm.
It's at the
oh,
end of the
wait.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she's playing cards.
Yeah.
he gets the
No, I mean,
loses the bet.
as far as I know, Jawas and Tusken Raiders are natives to Tatooine. I'm not aware of
What about the Hutt?
the other part of it. Who would be? So
I don't know. Maybe
Are the
the
Hutts?
The Hut. Well, the Hutt's. No, there is a Hut home planet.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just one
Ooh,
nasty
yes.
It
planet.
is. That's a big,
Yeah.
that's a,
Yeah.
that's a
exactly.
heavy
That's a
planet.
husky planet.
Yeah.
That's right.
So no, I agree with you, Daniel. I think there's definitely some parallels there of because they had that mention there of like, well, you're raiding our village, and like, well, you raided our water first, or something like that.
Yeah,
Kinda
and
like
they-
who started the conflict first, kind of thing. Who shot first?
And people say,
Yeah.
oh, they're brutal. And they're like, well, but these people have survived in the most brutal place in the planet for centuries. Like, you have to be brutal
'Cause it's
to
Tatooine.
survive.
yeah.
You know, like,
Some cool little things here, of course. Anakin's pod racer that the Marshals
That was
driving.
neat.
That's
That was
cool.
really neat.
Cool
Great.
thing there.
great. Now,
Um,
you said they actually confirmed it was Anakin's, right?
I mean,
think the-
Anakin's was custom made, so nothing else would have looked like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but I
think
mean,
that-
every pod racer was custom made.
Yeah.
But
So
I mean, I've also like in other racer games, and there's even some other like like even in KOTOR, there's like a not pod racing, but kind of its own kind of pod racing thing. And there's similar designs there at times. I knew it was from a pod racer. I just didn't, I guess did an interview or something confirm it was.
I think one of the like concept artists on the show.
Oh, cool.
Confirmed it, I
Okay.
believe. Other cool little things I thought
cool.
were neat that were just A was when Mando hits the Marshal's jetpack, resembling whenever he hit the same jetpack
That's
actually
fun.
from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And kind of like that little nod there of like, hey, here's a canon explanation that this happens to this at least.
It can actually happen if someone just gets tapped on the back.
Yeah, so that's a
Maybe
nice
it's an
little
old model. It
Well,
had a
also
defect.
like he said, then he goes, "Hey, make sure they know I didn't break that."
Oh,
At the end,
Yeah.
but I mean, it could have already been broken. He knew it. That's why
Yeah.
it was still messed up.
of course, the Crate Dragon was an awesome visual effect
Good
and
monster.
and monster. It's
great.
great flying action.
And it was fast because they like
Oh,
it
it's
blew
like
up and it was like,
Tremors.
now I'm in the mountain.
Yeah.
And it must have the mountain.
Yeah,
it's
no,
cool.
It was really
monster.
cool. Cool way to kill
No, I
him.
really liked it.
Not a lot of Baby Yoda though. The first episode.
No,
Who
in fact,
cares?
I mentioned this on the first time we talked about this, but I kept expecting Baby Yoda to play
Kill the Crate
a
Dragon.
role at least in the final battle because you kept getting shots of him and he would look like scared or like cover his eyes or whatever. But I kept feeling like okay, at the pivotal moment he's gonna do something. Maybe it's not like kill it himself. Maybe he just like freezes it for a second and they can kill him. But I agree. It was surprisingly, and I was even thinking about. I was like, when's the last time Baby Yoda used the Force?
It was the last episode of season 1.
Did he use it at that point?
He saves the fire part from.
Oh, that's right.
Saves Mando.
Yeah.
That's
or
right.
saves the group from the fire.
That's right.
I think
Passes
he's
out.
That's
only
right,
used
that's
it one
right.
time in this season.
Has he
used it
He
at
only
all?
used it when he touched the eggs. The eggs stuck to him.
Oh,
in
he
the jar.
did,
That's the only
yeah.
time he did it.
Yeah, he
He touches the jar and they start floating.
I didn't even catch that
Yeah.
the eggs
Yeah.
moving to him. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay.
And so we have.
Sorry to jump ahead.
No,
you're
it's
fine.
all part of it. So they defeat the Crate Dragon. He gets the Beskar armor back from the Marshal. Of course, there's
Which I did not think. For some reason, I guess because Timothy Olyphant's like can scream and stuff, I was like, well, Timothy Olyphant's probably gonna be bad.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I thought he was not gonna do it. I was like, oh, he's actually like a good guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was happy that he was, but I just always expected him to be like, well, I can't give you the armor,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was gonna be like that, but he was
Like
like, well,
an actual standoff or something.
yeah, or something. I was like, oh man, he's gonna kill Timothy Olyphant, but then Timothy Olyphant's fine. So I'm like, well, that's cool then.
You think I think he'll come back.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah, they
he's
seem.
an
Well,
actor.
there's a line at the end where he says like, "Call me if you need." Basically, a line of like, "Hey, I'm willing to help out in the future if you need people to help out with something," which of course they will at some point.
It's very much Mandalorian is like the Mass Effect of Star Wars, where you're just traveling doing missions and you're recruiting
Meet
people.
different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this is a big mission later together.
He always
Sure.
meets cool faces.
Yeah.
I mean,
he
the
does.
Mandalorian would make the perfect Star Wars RPG, like
Yeah.
setup.
It would.
I do want to say with Timothy Olyphant that I liked him. I almost kind of wish there was an added layer of him either being a villain or something because I like him, but he is kind of one note.
I love
He's
Timothy
just kind of
Olyphant.
a.
This does not reflect my thoughts. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that in the end, I kind of just say he's a space sheriff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you don't need to say anything else that can entirely encapsulate everything that
Yeah.
he is. He's a space sheriff.
Well, after that episode, I went back and started watching clips from the show Justified, which is where
He's
I
a good guy in that.
Yeah,
He's
he's the
like a
same
cowboy.
He's the same character.
Yeah.
in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that was a big show I loved growing up.
I kept thinking he was going to be an unreliable narrator because he kept saying like how he got the armor and stuff, and I
yeah.
just kept being like,
See,
what if he's lying? That's what I kept thinking was going to happen. But I was wrong.
something,
It was
but
neat.
Yeah, it
maybe
was
we'll
cool.
get something more from him later. But overall, great episode.
It was, and
I
of
think
course-
the visuals took kind of the king seat. Like that was the main thing it
Yeah.
offered.
Spectacle was big.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
in comparison to the first
That's
season,
like
it was
the biggest thing he's done. I
Yeah.
feel like it's about
But
that.
I think
Yeah,
I would
I
not
agree.
be surprised if this was that episode is the most money they spent on CG up to this point. I'm
Up
trying
to
to remember, but like that crate dragon and like when he spewed the acid and people were
Oh,
melting.
it was melting them. Yeah, I thought they were just melting people though. I didn't think it was
Yeah, it was melting.
effects.
oh,
Okay.
you got to lose a few to make some
They
few
were
eggs.
just Tusken Rangers.
That's right. Of course,
true,
the
I mean-
last shot of the episode was the big reveal, and we have Tamora Morrison back as playing Boba Fett. And the only thing he played Boba Fett previously was the voice.
We don't know he's Boba Fett though, right?
We don't. There's theories that it could be Captain Rex.
But he did
I hope
play.
it's
But he
Boba
did
Fett.
play
Me too.
Django.
He did play Django. I'm
So
saying
I mean,
Boba
he's
Fett.
played the
And-
face of Boba Fett.
Yes.
They have the same face.
I will say this: I absolutely hated that they gave Boba Fett a face. especially when episode 2 came out. Episode 2, I think, is
Oh, really?
what used to be the weak link in Star Wars, but
Yeah,
you're right.
I will agree
what
with you there.
used to be. But
I'll agree with you there.
I always hated. I was like, man, Boba Fett's cool. Why has he got to be like this Australian guy that
Right.
he's like,
I liked
this
it,
is my
man.
son, and then he gets his head cut off.
Right.
I liked it. I think Jango Fett is bad fucking ass cool.
You had a Jango Fett poster in your bedroom.
I did have Jango
I
Fett.
think Jango Fett was fucking awesome.
Jango was like, cool. Boba Fett's dead. Cool.
The good thing is, in your point, they've created the Mandalorian for you. So, like,
Yeah, the Mandalorian is just what I wanted, but
Yeah.
which I'll make a point of that when we talk about episode 3. But I will say this: you see him at the end of episode 1, which we assume, which I hope it's Boba Fett. If it's Rex, that's also cool. Whatever.
I
I'm not-
think so because in the last season we see the Spurs and Timothy Oliphant doesn't have the Spurs. So it's like that's probably the only thing that Boba Fett kept was his boots.
Oh, okay.
So I would assume that's where we're going.
I hope that's Boba Fett because I will say this: that is by far that actor. That's the coolest he's ever looked because he's like scarred up.
You mean
and,
Aquaman's dad? It's not the best. That's Aquaman's dad and Aquaman.
is it?
Yeah, it is.
He's the king.
No, he's Aquaman's home.
Oh,
dad.
that's right.
Yeah.
No, it's not. He's got like a ball cap and he's kind of pudgy, but he don't have a ball cap. I'm sorry, he got a shaved head.
Yeah,
But-
just like in this. Yeah.
No, he looks really cool because he's got scars and stuff. He looks actually because when I see Jango Fett and stuff, and then especially seeing what happens to him in episode 2, I'm like, man, he's not that cool. He's not even tough. But at the end of this episode,
What about the Obi-Wan chase? When Obi-Wan's trying to chase him on Kamino,
or
they
he's
have the
running
battle.
from Obi-Wan. He's running from him
Yes,
like a coward would.
no, he's a Mandalorian bounty hunter. They don't chill with Jedi.
Yeah,
They traditionally
dude.
are warriors in like a
A warrior fights, dude. They
historical
don't run.
sense. But how he battles him on the raining platform with Obi-Wan's got the
I'm just
lightsaber,
saying, dude.
the fucking bombs that he leaves in like the asteroid field that has the best bomb effect sound I've ever heard ever.
It is
The-
a cool sound effect.
Just saying,
It's amazing.
you get your head cut off, you can't be that cool.
Yeah, Mace Windu
But you
does
got
not
your
have
head
no
cut
time
off
for
by
that.
Mace fucking Windu.
Yeah, but then
He's
like,
literally
I'm not
in
sure it's an
canon.
achievement to
Yeah.
put on
No,
your
in canon, Mace Windu is one of the best lightsaber fighters in the entire order.
yeah.
Period. In fact, his natural force
Wasn't
ability,
much of a fight.
like
Yeah.
he has a natural force ability that he can in the force detect like a weakness point on anything. Whether it's a robot, whether it's a person, he detects their weakness point through the force, and only he can do that.
Well, Darth
And he's
Vader-
mastered he's like one of 3 people that have mastered the most powerful Jedi lightsaber form.
Well, Darth Vader's also like one of the most menacing forces in the galaxy, right?
Yeah, but he's just powerful.
And he's just
powerful with the force.
and he
That's his
just-
thing. He
yeah,
just has
and-
ultimate force
But
powers.
to your point, he also just picks up a guy and throws him down an elevator shaft. That ain't that cool.
Who?
Darth Vader picks up the Emperor and throws him down a shaft. But that ain't that
Yeah,
cool way
okay,
to
but
die.
we're talking
So
about the
you-
original trilogy. There's some definite aging issues with some of the
No, I
action
just
things in the
counterpoint.
original
Just an innocent
It
bystander.
ain't a cool way to die. I'm just saying Jango Fett's lame. Boba Fett for life. But anyways,
Boba
I mean,
Fett,
tech-
yeah.
Up until now, Boba Fett died by falling into a pit.
he's way cooler. He looked cooler. He had weathered
And
armor.
who bumped him off? It wasn't even that cool. And he gets
Han
bumped.
Solo.
Han Solo
But he
hits
like
him in
just hits him with
blindfolded.
one
Oh,
little
you heard it
bullet.
first, Daniel. He don't like Han Solo. Everybody put that down. He said he was real happy at the end of episode 7.
So the episode ends with, of course, the reveal of Boba Fett, we presume.
Sure.
And then one thing we've kind of see a lot this season, I would say a little more so, is how interconnected they kind of overlapping more so.
Yeah.
That we start episode 2 still on Tatooine, which is
He's
I
just
think,
leaving.
which is where the I think the card thing
That maybe
is
was-
happening.
maybe
Then.
You're right. It is episode 2.
And then,
But
we're-
yeah, I love it because we're just next episode. It's just he was leaving
what happened.
Tatooine and he's still leaving when we pick him up.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
just
it's
I
a
like
minor
that
thing, but it kind
continuity.
of feels like this more. We're on this
Connected.
linear path.
Well,
Well,
it feels
yeah.
like every minute matters more so if we're picking up like that versus time passed and now he's at this planet kind of thing, or like what I
Yeah,
mean?
but here's where it kind of gets weird. Is now his next thing is okay. We got to go to this place to find the Mandalorians, but you need to take a passenger. So what was the thing again? If you take the passenger, I will tell you where the Mandalorians are.
he was looking for information and she said that her husband had
That's it, the
seen
husband.
some on the planet that she was going to,
Yeah.
and that they would tell them where they'd seen him if she helps get her there.
Which is funny enough. The husband's answer is this:
Yeah, that bar over there.
That bar. The bar where everyone converses
I agree.
on the port.
I agree.
Yeah, you know,
I
so-
agree. Exactly. You could have been like, oh, they've seen them on this planet. I guess I'll go ask around at the bars.
Yeah.
Though, also to be fair, asking at the bar did not go well.
True.
That's getting ahead. But yeah, episode 2.
Yeah. So episode 2 essentially is more of the we have a mission and we've
It's an
completed the
escort.
mission.
It's an escort mission. The
Yes.
movie or the episode.
And we
If you're
get
gonna-
X-wing pilots of the New Republic,
More Dave
kinda
Filoni.
tracking down more Dave Filoni,
which I
more
guess
pilot,
is just saying that he's the exact same pilot from that episode.
I would assume.
I mean, he can't not be.
Yeah.
It was either pilot. Was it the episode where they like with the prison ship?
Yes.
That was
And they
right.
blew
comes
up.
in and-
They
bombed.
the beacon
Yeah,
thing he
yeah,
left.
that was him.
AKA the best episode last season.
That was my favorite
arguably.
episode.
As a standalone, I would agree. Yeah.
And so, of course, take the passenger, as we know her, to her husband. They're on the snow planet.
They crash.
They crash.
Well, they
and-
crash because they're intercepted by X-wings. They're
Yes.
asking for identification. I like that. I like kind of seeing a little bit of the bureaucracy of the New Order. Because I mean, the Empire, I guess, would have shot you down immediately as soon as you didn't send them your ID or something, or boarded you.
Now, let me get that ping.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of working with them. And I even
it's
like
not
how they're
working.
like, "Come on, Ravencrest, don't do this." Like,
Yeah.
like, guys,
They do.
come on.
They do kind of seem like they're really trying to get him an out. Like, give us something.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are to an
And
extent.
even
yeah.
after they start chasing him, they're like, "Just stop! Please don't make me do this." That's what he says. Don't make me do this while they're
Yeah.
when you're going through the snow. After they've chased him for like 2 planet.
Well, I like that kind of shows kind of the life of a republic, I guess.
Yeah, they
X-wing,
don't
X-wing
want to
like,
just go around killing him.
scout kind of thing, where it's just like it's kind of a run-of-the-mill job. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, all right, gotta do some more bullshit today. You know what I mean? Like it's like a beat cop.
Which really adds up at the end.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
they crash on this planet, and we're getting a little bit of Baby Yoda eating some of these eggs, which I guess caused an issue
Apparently,
online.
people were upset. I guess.
They've had the concept artists come out and had to defend it, which I think is stupid.
What?
I think it's a
I think-
fine.
Also,
Is it like-
any of those people eat eggs? Then they should.
What
Yeah.
was this like started by PETA or something?
I don't maybe, but the issue, I guess, I don't know what the
Like,
issue is.
it makes Baby Yoda a villainous character. I was like,
It
no, he just wants to
doesn't.
eat. He's a baby. He wants to eat
child.
eggs.
They're
He's a
un-
child.
Well, in the concept artists, and I guess I can't believe we're doing this. We have to stay in society. The concept artists come out and said those eggs are unfertilized. Like that's it. Like in the character bio, we put that in there. The eggs are unfertilized. That way,
Well, yeah, that's why she has to get to the planet with her husband.
to fertilize. them.
Yeah, because that's the
and-
last of her eggs.
Yeah, so it's like.
Huh. Okay.
They had that whole issue anyway. It's a fun. I think it's a fun. I was sitting there watching, going, "I hope you don't eat those eggs." And then all of a sudden, he's eating. Like, oh my god! Like it's
It
a
was
honey
funny.
bee.
It was funny.
Sucks
in a-
him down.
It was
Yeah.
kind of funny in a dark way, though. I liked the kind of hint of dark humor there. That like,
Well, he's a
When he first catch him, he's like, "How many did you eat?"
Yeah.
He's looking at it.
Yeah.
And he's like,
well, and then the best
Yeah.
moment is the final shot of the episode where they're all riding off and you think they've done, and he pulls one
he
more
randomly
out.
has one. He just
But to me, I think why I think it's
So
okay
good.
is even taking out like the
I wouldn't
implications. It's just like it's kind of like good Star Wars humor.
It
You
is.
know, it's kind of like you got these different aliens. I mean, look at like
hey, those people aren't mad when that Rancor's eating people.
yeah, and you got like things in like even episode
Right.
1 where like people's tongues are grabbing shit and eating other
Jabba the
animals.
Hutt famously ate Salacious Crumb,
That's what
one
I'm
of the most beloved Star Wars characters of all time.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Can
It happens
confirm.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Salacious Crumb. That should be
so
your guys'
I-
mascot.
The big crux of the episode, of course, is after on the crash land on this planet, then there's these spider creatures.
Yes.
And some
Yes.
great monster, like alien from
Yeah.
like
When-
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, like walking into the room where they find her in the, and you knew it was all leading up to kind of that classic horror monster, sci-fi horror
Right.
monster moment, but it worked really well in my opinion. And I'll just throw this there: the spider design, which I didn't catch this was something I caught later, is actually from concept art from The Empire Strikes Back. So in like when they were designing like Luke being lost in Hoth, these were some monsters that they were going to design, but they just didn't get to it or budget or whatever.
Too hard,
So
I
they
say.
brought them back now, and they look almost identical to the concept artist from like the 80s.
The concept art is identical.
It's really cool.
It's like
It-
they cut out the concept art and then changed the
Yeah.
background.
They're white. They have the same teeth stuff. Yeah, no, it's really cool that they did that.
When you see Baby Yoda, which I did think it was like when he's walking through the snow up to those to the spider eggs, it looked like not family friendly, right?
Yeah.
It looked real shitty,
Yeah.
but like it was funny. Like it's clearly a puppet they're shoveling through. The
I love it.
snow.
Though. I love the puppet
But
stuff.
they're doing
I
that,
think.
and he gets up to that egg when it opened up like that, and there's like a multi-leg like arachnid thing. I was like, oh, okay,
This isn't
We're
gonna go
fight
good.
a-
Yeah.
I was like, cool, they're gonna fight monsters. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Now I did not expect a giant one. I just thought they were going to fight a bunch of little ones, which I still thought was cool. But I was even more happy when the big giant one busted through.
I mean, it was again the quality and the visual effects of this show
Great.
are just as good or better than most movies that come out.
Yeah, when they're running through the tight corridors and there's spiders climbing everywhere, it's such good visuals. It's such good tension. Like it's that creepy, like oh my god,
yeah.
that's a lot of spiders.
I was like, man, he's got the perfect in which he does use. I was like, man, he's got a flamethrower, which is like because it reminded me of like John Carpenter's The Thing,
Right.
Because they're in the snow.
There was some
There's
good
a lot
like
of Thing,
horror,
a lot of Alien
not trope, but like call back to like classic horror moments, like when he finally does the flamethrower and he kind of turns around and you see it like you're like, oh, this is.
And then because he does that when they're out there, and when
Yeah.
he gets him in between the door and he starts shooting
Yeah.
on the door, and which is perfect because it just shreds, just burn him to crisp at the door.
Yeah,
That was really,
it's really cool.
When you walk out and there's all the spider webs.
Yeah, and stuff. They just made a ton.
That's
like,
just
instant.
that's scary.
Yeah.
When I watched that, my first thought was, man, I don't ever want to clean that up. That's what I was thinking.
Like, well, there's
Yeah.
little things in
It's
here.
awful.
Even if they couldn't hurt me in my like Beskar armor,
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
But Mando doing his thing.
He's
fighting
also not
them,
like scared.
it's so cool.
It is cool.
Can we go back real quick? 'Cause
Sure.
I know we did this first episode last week or whatever, and it got deleted for whatever reason. And then,
Didn't get deleted,
but it got mishandled. But one thing is to talk about the fight scene in the first episode, the opening was awesome.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
at
that's
the-
John
at-
Leguizamo.
Yeah,
That's wild.
when they were
Yeah.
having the
wrestling match.
Yeah, and it was by the Gamorreans, and I love bringing Gamorreans back.
Yeah.
Obviously they were introduced at Jabba's palace, but they've been in the extended, like they've been in games a ton.
The reason I bring that up is because in the trenches when he's fighting the spiders, he's like grabbing them, doing some cool moves, and it
Yeah.
reminded
Yeah,
me
he
of the
does
fight
this
choreography of episode 1. It's it's still top notch.
Yeah, this episode
is.
this season has better fight choreography than the last.
It's awesome.
It
For
is.
sure.
It feels like he feels like a space ninja in a way, like a space or maybe more like a space samurai in like ways that he just has all these little gadgets that he pulls out and he's using in interesting ways, and he's always got an answer to something. Any situation, he's got something he's got to
He's
do
a
with it
good
and try
combatant,
it.
and he's
I'll say this:
He's
the
resourceful.
stunt coordinators or whoever's actually doing it probably deserves some like respect because
Yeah.
I can only imagine moving around in that armor and the helmet where you can't see.
Hey.
anything.
Surely
Yeah.
it's like plastic
I'm
when
sure
they're doing the stunts.
I'm
like-
sure they have like a path and they're hoping that the other people are there and they're probably just like
just going through the motion.
just going through the motions.
Yeah.
So of course we end the episode 2.
And I'll take a gripe a little bit with this ending, as you're saying, because
Yeah.
obviously it's the moment of no hope. The spiders are everywhere. The big guy, they thought they got the big guy, but now the big spider's back. And then, someone's blasting him. Then you're like, oh, who could that be? And then it's the X-Wing pilots using their handguns.
Yeah, not blasting. I didn't think that
I
was,
was like,
odd. But they're not handguns. They're like rifles.
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
And
Like,
apparently,
this
but
giant,
hey, their rifles were powerful enough to kill those big spider ones.
the giant one. Did Mando not ever shoot him?
Well, you don't ever see them.
Couldn't he just go?
They
pew,
could
pew?
have killed the big giant one with their X-wing, but you just don't because he doesn't get out until the big one's been hit.
That's
So
true.
then he gets out, and then they could have blown that thing away with their big gun.
If that's the case, they should have made sure that was. They should have just like showed a cutscene of them swooping in and a giant or something because
They take
it
you out-
made
they
it
take you out
seem
of it,
like
though.
they were killing the big spider with a little pew pew rifle.
I always kind of also thought
Probably
that
could.
maybe the big X-wing cannons, whatever you want to call them, they might have actually damaged more than just a spider. You mean more? Maybe I'm speculating more
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
size.
Sure.
You're gonna mess up.
You might kill Mando
Yeah.
and whoever's the ship itself.
Right, but I guess it just seems
It's
like
designed to kill
Mando
ships.
could have killed the spider too, just a couple pew pews and he's done. Apparently,
He had a different pew pew gun though.
No, but it was really cool. And of course, we had this. We were watching with Katie, and Katie was like, "That was kind of rude of them to like not help him out." And
loved it.
I said they kind of did help him out.
Yeah,
No,
I
they
like
kind of
these,
saved
like,
his goddamn life.
Do you want to help me, fix these? And like, yeah, you get that ping fix. You get that beacon
We'll
fix.
call
They
it
just
even.
get in their ship and then
Because they're like, yeah, you've got some
Yeah.
warrants. We're gonna call it even.
which adds up with you being like, they're like beat cops. They're one. They don't really want to mess with it, and then they're just like, yeah, we saved you, and we're not going to take you in.
Well, I think they also it's like
I
a
don't want to
recog-
get out and fix this.
Yeah,
it's
no.
kind of a recognition of Mando being kind of that like what is it, chaotic good. He's kind of like that chaotic good
I thought you
character
were saying
where
above the law.
he's never
dude.
gonna find
Like, oh.
he's never gonna follow the rules, but he is generally gonna do good things. And so it feels like they're kind of interacting like, well, technically we should arrest you, but we know you're not really the bad guy.
Right.
Kind of thing. And I like
Yeah.
that. I like seeing kind of like the politics of that.
Because they were like, they knew the Razor Crest was at that prison, but they were like, well, you also apprehended like 3 super wanted
Or
criminals.
yeah, right.
I mean, there's a thing there because the government they did have was that if you were a person trying to do good, you were a bad guy.
sure.
So
Yeah.
so like there's
Yeah.
the people who are like now in charge kind
Right.
of probably see that they were rebels themselves.
Sure.
They go, this
Yeah.
guy ain't doing bad. He's just
But
Yeah,
it also I feel like you get a taste of a little bit of the Wild West nature to the New Republic. Obviously, the New Republic isn't as organized or strict as the Empire, but it also seems they may not be as just organized in general. Like they're kind of just struggling to like you got cop, and of course they're generally in the Outer Rim if they were near Tatooine. So obviously you're going to have maybe less control in the Outer Rim versus the inner part of the galaxy.
and no, that ends up being their part of their downfall because they end up losing. They lose the control of the government, So I guess you
to the same guy.
do the same.
Wait,
guy.
what are you talking
Thanks.
the first
movies.
order coming in. I mean, the first order is like a radical faction, but they do kind of establish a government. Over.
Are you talking about the First Order Empire?
I'm talking about the actual
The New
Republic?
the sequel trilogy.
He's talking about how
Yeah.
the New
Yeah.
Republic basically loses to
Well, they lose
the
because
First Order.
they lose because of the Death Star .02.
Yes. Well, yes.
Star
It's the
Killer.
Same thing.
They lose because
Star Killer
they
base.
wanted to replicate the Tatooine moment or the Alderaan moment from
Yeah,
New
they
Hope, but bigger.
They wanted
what
to
if
do
it
that
was
a lot.
Alderaan but 10 of them?
Yeah.
Whoa!
So cool episode though. I think
Yeah.
Cool monster of the week thing. And at the time, it's easier to be okay. I was
Yes.
always okay with it because it's like
Yes.
it's great content. I'm getting cool stuff. There's always a part of me in the back of my head was like, man,
Yeah, I
I
really
still
liked
want
it.
those.
Plot wise,
The
it was
juice because I will run out of time because I'm going to have to wait a
Yes.
whole nother year for the big
Yes.
reveals.
How many episodes is it going to
There's
be?
only 8. I think I said 9 last episode, but there's only 8 episodes.
Okay. So it's the same as last season.
Yeah, so we're almost halfway already. And so that's happening. But of course, whenever you do, it's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It don't matter. Just give it to me. I'll take it. I'll take my breakfast. My Wheaties.
I agree with you that it was a entertaining episode. It was cool. There's a lot of cool visuals. There was a lot of cool moments and funny moments. But especially, and we're about to start talking about episode 3, I think we could have just skipped it. You could have just gone from leaving Tatooine with the cargo to just getting there. I mean, maybe have like
mean,
an event happen, like get
skipped-
attacked or something.
Other
but-
than the setup for Boba Fett, which kind of happened in season 1 because the same thing happened where he saw
Right.
Mando doing
Right.
something.
right.
Was that he could have left the this is the way lady, went to the place where the new Bo-Katan is,
Right.
and that you could have skipped 2 things, but now of course they're padding it and they want some cool things to happen. It's a TV show.
And
What's-
Tatooine, like the Tatooine episode's like, yeah, he's starting out. Where's more Mandalorians? There's a rumor on Tatooine. That makes sense as like a new episode, like first episode to a new season to like kind of reacquaint us, like, not trying to be like super hardcore plot in the first episode, more just like, let's get acquainted with the world. Let's start dropping some seeds that will later bloom into big plot. For me, just episode 2, it's like as far as I can tell, now maybe future episodes will correct me on this. There's nothing that I can think of that happens in episode 2 that has any effect on any plot going forward.
I do have thoughts on it, Matt. Before I get into my spill, what do you think? What are your thoughts on it? I know you as we do, you love it. It's great.
I love it. And the thing about the Mandalorian, it also, it's a like. I don't know what I did to Mario. It's a like a this. It's like older TV shows. Even though it's made, and I think that's part of the reason they even stagger the release, but it's not like, and it's something I like about it, is you could pretty much, in Mandalorian, except for maybe the last 2 episodes of season 1, if you just tuned into any random episode of it and you watched anyone watch it, you could sit down and be entertained.
Right. True.
Cool. Now, cool, and it should have plot threads and stuff, but I would even go as far as say I prefer standalone episodes like that, because in episodes like that, and people, I'm not saying you guys do this, but a lot of people discredit episodes like that, like standalone or one-offs, or filler episodes.
Sure.
But I don't, because even in filler episodes, you still get character development because you see how that character would react to things
Sure.
and things like that. So I prefer, and I would even go as far as to say, I know we're about to start talking about episode 3. I would say season 2, first 3 episodes, stronger than season 1.
I would agree.
Probably.
I would agree with that too. Actually, definitely stronger. Just because they're kind of bigger and cooler.
And see, they're
you
bigger, cooler,
don't
but you
have
guys
to
gotta
ex-
keep
you
in
don't
mind-
have to explain as much. They had to explain so much in
yeah.
that first season.
Well,
to set the
that
world.
does show you this though, because those first 3 in the original gave you a lot more plot thread going but these didn't.
Well,
There aren't better
yeah,
episodes.
but I mean, the first three were basically the movie that started the thing because they had to set up. I mean, he didn't even get Baby Yoda with him like traveling until the end of episode three. Right. So they
'Cause
took.
he goes and saves him.
So they just took 3 episodes to introduce the main plot of the whole show.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to me. Like you got to set
Yeah,
up Baby.
yeah.
I mean, because him and Yoda
And
going is
I love those first 3 episodes.
Oh, they're great.
yeah, fucking Werner Herzog. You kidding me?
There's not an
My beer
episode
buddy?
of Mandalorian I've not liked.
Beer buddy. No, I agree with what, and I think one thing to say, I think we'll speak to what you're saying and speak to how also I think maybe me and Daniel kind of lean a little bit more towards is that I think this the plot or the theme of season 1 really was becoming a Mandalorian.
Here's a Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be explaining who they are.
Yeah.
But really for Mando particularly is getting his creed. This is the way. Is learning
Sure.
what is the way.
Yeah.
Season 2 is what does it actually mean to be a Mandalorian?
And I can't wait to get to
because
the-
this
yeah,
episode
yeah.
1, you get Timothy Oliphant wearing the armor, and he does not like that, of course, because we know the status quo. Episode 2 is more the same thing as getting us to 3, but it's about being a dad. It's about dealing with your kid.
Well, and it's also
about
the-
eating
yeah.
shit,
But-
smacking them.
But also, I mean, her whole thing where she hijacks the robot and she's like, "You're a Mandalorian, and you told me you would do this. Are you breaking your code?
Altering your deal.
Yeah.
Are you going to break your code?"
Yeah.
And that's what. Which a little bit there, I was also like, so was Mando just going to take a nap while the ship was just broke? Was he just like, we'll fix it tomorrow? Like, what was his thought there?
No, I mean, I think there's probably more of a needs to rest, kind of keep going.
Yeah.
Stronger
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
He's like, we have to go
Recover.
now. But she was just like, we're on a time crunch because she has to get her eggs there. 'Cause
Yeah.
he was like, we need to rest and figure stuff out.
And one thing we really talked about last year when we started this podcast for the show was, we knew that we would probably see him take his mask off at some point, either at the end of the season or whatever. And eventually he would have to either be forced to take it off and it would end up him breaking his creed, or he would decide that he
Yeah.
needs to take it off for X, Y, and Z.
Which
It seems to be pointing to the latter,
Yes.
I would say, after episode 3.
I will say this: whenever, if he does ever like, oh, I'm not going to be a Mandalorian, I'm going to take my mask off. That's when I check out. I'm done with shit.
Really?
I do not like that at all. And I also think,
Even with the added context of
yes, because also,
Have you watched the Clone Wars?
bits and pieces? I know enough. Like I know she's from.
I think you might feel different if you watched all of that in Clone Wars because
But-
it's like a 10 episode arc. It's not just an episode.
But also, it showed him when they were like, they were made, which is jumping super far ahead. Even they were like, he's like, you're changing the deal. They changed it on him.
I love the way they
Which
did it too.
when he did that, he was like, that's not what we do. And she's like, well, you guys are just religious zealots and stuff. But to him,
Well, it's more than that. It's much more than that.
that's what she said. But that's what she says about him.
No, but and maybe I'll save that. But as far as what she talks about, as far as what he comes from,
Yeah.
they're not just overly religious. They're at least in Clone Wars they were fucked up,
They're zealots.
but they like killed
Yeah.
thousands of people.
Yeah, that's
and
what
were
zealot-
led by Darth Maul. Darth Maul was their leader.
Is that why they got like the dark saber?
Yes,
Okay.
Darth Maul led them to try to overthrow all of Mandalore.
But I'll still say when that is because the Mandalorian, cool character, great character. But if he ever's like, oh, I'm going to be like normal guy, take my mask off, I'm not a Mandalorian or anything, that's when I'll check out. That's when I'm like, and I've been.
Well, I think they've
they've
opened the door for him to be able to take it off and still be a Mandalorian at this point.
I think that's
he won't,
where
he won't be to me.
That's
baby.
where the showrunners were heading because they'll be
Yeah.
you could it's like, what does it mean to be a hero? And it's like, well, it doesn't have to check all these boxes. You can be what is it? You can evolve and still be this thing, but also be something else too. And that's where they're going to head. It's just like you could just see that coming a mile away kind of thing. We talked about that last year. Definitely, the consensus will eventually be that it's 2 seasons from now or 3 seasons. I would suspect it could change. Is that you don't have to wear this helmet to.
You don't think it'll be this
To
season?
be, I think he'll definitely
No.
take it off by the end of this.
I don't. Not
After
permanently.
the first 3 episodes,
He might show someone his face this season. I don't think he'll just remove it and be done with it this season.
Yeah, I mean, we always kind of wondered why is this group of Mandalorians, or is this because of Bo-Katan and all them, because they acted so differently, in other shows.
Yeah, the way they've explained it is so satisfying to me.
Yeah, so let's kind of
Let's get to episode 3.
let's break down
Yeah.
the episode for us.
Did you say me? Okay, I didn't hear. So obviously they finally reached the planet. I really liked also the opening shot because you had that classic moving over a planet and then the ship comes into view, but it's like sputtering and like janky looking. And it was kind of a play on that classic opening shot of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So And I even like some of so they land. He finally gets to the planet where the frog lady's husband is. Excuse me. I love the little gag humor where they're about to land. He's about to nail it.
Frog person, dude.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. They're about to land. Like he's nailing this really hard, and then they're like, "All right, I'm gonna do it." And it's about to land, and then one engine craps out, and they just fall right into the ocean right next to it. It was good. So anyway, the plot is he gets there. He's looking for information. He goes to a bar to find information, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know where some are. We'll have to go by boat." And my first thought is, why can't you just fly? Why can't you just fly right over the ocean? Why do you need to be in a boat? I don't understand that part in Star Wars.
There's
world.
a magnetic field.
Yeah,
that is amazing. He flies later.
Yeah. So they go on this trip. It's obviously an ambush.
See, I didn't think it was.
Really,
I didn't either. Whenever that happened, we both gasped.
Yeah, whenever
Really?
Well, go ahead.
I felt like it was just because of their. Honestly, the reason I thought it was is when he asked that one guy in the bar, he walks over and you audibly hear him saying, "Oh, Mandalore, Bascal," like he's like you like overhear what he's saying to him, and I was like,
I thought he was just checking for info though.
But also, it seemed like when he did it with Mandalore, it was like he had to like get real close to him for like inconspicuous reasons while he was filling up Yoda's bowl and being like, yeah, like it was being all secret. It was being all like hush hush, and then he walks over here and you like audibly hear him talking about it, and I was like, this feels sketchy. That was just me. So anyway, they get ambushed and Mando gets put into this little swimming pool on the boat with a worm in it where Yoda's already been eaten by it. He's about to like not make it out, I guess. To be fair, I feel like he's a little suspiciously less able to do anything in that situation than he is in some of others, as far as he doesn't really try anything. But at the last second, 3 Mandalorian armor wearing kick-ass people rocket in, kill everybody, get him out, go get Yoda out of the worm thing.
I like how that guy just dived in.
Yeah.
He just jumped in after. All right. He jumped in.
Yeah. I do really love the whole, that moment when they push Baby Yoda in and Mando jumps straight in without even thinking.
Yeah, he goes right for it.
I like that he's already feeling so attached to him, obviously, like in the caretaker role. But anyway, we find out that these Mandalorians are actually led by Bo-Katan, one of the final actual Mandalorian by blood people that we are aware of in the entire universe.
She was born on Mandalorian.
She is a Mandalorian by genes, by the blood in her veins. And she was a highly, highly powerful person in the democracy of Mandalore during the Clone Wars.
Is she the one? She is the one from Clone Wars.
She's the one that Obi-Wan.
It's not like her descent or anything.
She's the one that Obi-Wan. Her and Obi-Wan Kenobi like had a fling.
Yeah.
Like it's never.
I'm getting. I was saying during the episode, I was like, I think it's Sabin Wren. I was like, I think her. I was like, wait a minute, baby. No, you're right. You're right.
I am right.
You are right.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm pretty sure.
If that is,
do they take their helmets off in Clone Wars?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Okay.
This is the first. This Mandalorian season 1 is the first time, like in Fallout, Star Wars lore, that I've ever heard of it being we don't take our helmets off.
Okay.
That's the first time it's happened.
That's why last season we were like, is this a different faction of the Mandalores?
Yeah,
that's why last year we were having all that speculation.
Right, and so. So he meets Bo-Katan. They take their helmets off, and he's like, "What the fuck? Y'all aren't Mandalorians." And she's like, "Bitch."
She goes, "You're one of those."
She's like,
That's what she said.
"No," but she's like, "Bitch, I was born on Mandalore. Like, I inherited this armor from my fucking grandma or some shit. Like, you aren't Mandalore." Like, it was like a fun moment where he was just like, "Really now?"
He still didn't. He didn't bother him. He's like, "Whatever, I'm gone." He just left.
You're right.
He couldn't care less what she said.
But then obviously she says, "Oh, you're one of them," and I was like, "Wait, what's this going? Oh, you're one of the Watcher." She's like, "Well, Watcher,
Child of the
Watch."
Yeah.
And my head just went explosion of happiness because I was like, "It all makes fucking sense now, man." Because back in those episodes, like I said, Mandalore, ancient history is that the Mandalorians were a giant empire that battled to control the galaxy, a la Empire style.
Yeah.
And the Jedi were their main enemy, trying to prevent that from
happening.
happening.
Just what even they said in the end of the first episode. They're like, "We fought space wizards."
Yeah, they were traditionally our enemies, right? So then you get to Mandalore and the Clone Wars, and it's a planet, and they've got like a decent government infrastructure, but it's no more the extent of
Are
their
they like a
power is the
warrior
planet.
race?
They have
Still?
very warrior like like honor code, all that kind of stuff
They're
is
like
very
predators.
central to their ideologies, but it's not to the extent that like we saw in season 1.
It's not like The Watch.
Yeah, so the Watch obviously were, I'm a little sketchy in all the details, but basically the Watch were trying to take over, and I believe their theory was that like we're trying to return Mandalore to its former glory, which in their minds was when
like the Empire,
when they invaded everybody
Because they ruled everything.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's their mind. Like, oh, we want to be the world, the galaxy conquerors again.
Yeah.
And Darth Maul ends up coming in and like leading their force, and Darth Maul gets the Darksaber through that. They overthrow Mandalore. They take it over for a period of time.
The Watch.
Yeah, they do. They take over the whole city. And then I believe Obi-Wan and what's her name?
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan lead a force to liberate it. And
Okay,
help
and that's
out.
what that arc is.
That's a lot of that arc.
I guess
Is
do
them-
they have like clone troopers helping them and stuff.
I believe
Or-
so, from what I recall. Yeah.
And the Darksaber, of course, is from the very first Jedi
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like almost like not a sign of
It's like
peace.
a holy relic, right?
Yeah, and it was like whoever holds
It
the
is.
Darksaber controls Mandalore.
Well, it is basically that can claim to be Mandalore almost in some way. But to me, that just, it makes season 1 give a whole new context to what we felt about those Mandalorians and what we saw of them. To me, it's like, oh damn, now I completely am more on track. It also makes me think I've got a pretty clear idea where we're going. I'll get to that later. So yes, he meets them. He's like, y'all ain't real Mandalorians. You took your helmet off, bitch. Leaves. He goes back and he's about to get ambushed by more tentacle guys. And then they come back and help him again, which is great.
I thought that was weird that he left and then he got ambushed and they come right, like they entered the same way.
Well, I'm guessing
I was
they
like,
just,
that was a weird plot.
I think they
to
just
it.
followed him.
Sure.
I think they were just like, we're following this guy.
Sure.
But yeah, I agree. It was kind of a weird, hey, I'm leaving you guys. Oh, we're right back. But some fantastic fucking Mandalorian fight scenes.
Oh, man.
Using the jetpacks, like just some like,
That
and
was
seeing
cool, yeah.
them fight as a group, it was just like, oh,
Well, also, like, because I'm pretty sure
this
it's
is
a-
fucking awesome.
It's a Mandalorian thing because they'll have yellow blaster fire, right? That's just strictly Mandalorian.
Jango Fett had a blue blaster fire. I'm pretty sure Boba had red
Yeah, but ain't
blaster
no
fire.
Mandalorian.
Boba
He
had
just liked them,
red.
They weren't Mandalorians, actually.
I don't
right?
think he was Mandalorian by race. Now he could have been more like
Foundling.
that, or like more like a follower of the religion part of it. Yeah,
Because
maybe
if you notice, all of the Mandalorians,
it's all yellow blasters.
his is all yellow. Theirs is all yellow. I think that's the thing that only Mandalorians use yellow blasters. Not that they exclusively use it, but I think it's a Mandalorian thing.
Huh? No, I haven't noticed that, but you could be right.
But if you know, in that episode, they all are yellow.
I
blasters
didn't know. That's interesting.
I will say one little note here. I've seen a few things with like Bo-Katan and like clips, that kind of stuff, and I've always thought watching the animation, man, this fight, the way they fight and move is real cool. But how do they translate that to live action? Because the way their armor looks and everything else,
Yeah.
and it looks like the armor translated really well. The way they moved translated just like the animation. I was like, oh, they did it. Like it worked.
Well, and
in a great way.
the armor, by the way, Bo-Katan's armor, it has that cool like
Hers is cool.
painting.
As soon as I
That's
saw that
straight
swirl.
from
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And it
For
just-
sure. I knew when I saw her, I knew who she was. I knew she was
But
from
even like
Clone
the
Wars.
female version of the Mandalore armor that she wears, it looks it's perfect.
It's exactly
It looks.
like perfect.
She looks like a female Mandalorian, but she doesn't look any more less like.
Which is
strong
also
badass.
because she is just the actual voice actress, right?
It is. It's
They
Katie
played
Sackhoff.
her.
Yeah.
So it's
Same
crazy
voice
that
actress.
she's like,
Yeah.
good thing they got her and she was
Now-
like in shape and stuff
Yeah.
and could fit, you know what I mean? So like,
100%.
that worked out.
Good
One
call.
thing that I'm a little bit confused about is that her and Obi-Wan had a fling in between episode 2 and 3, and then Obi-Wan's like an old man by A New Hope, and this is like 5-6 years after A New Hope in the timeline.
He didn't age well,
and
dude.
so she's like,
Yeah.
she aged very well. I guess
She's
maybe.
not a hermit. She's out there.
I
Kicking
guess it is.
ass,
Maybe
working
living
out,
living
Also,
in the
in the
desert for like
cartoon-
20 years, you just age faster.
She could have just been way younger than him in the cartoon, too.
That's true.
Because he could have
That's
been
true.
older.
That's
He had
true.
And we will get Ian McGregor in like a year from now on an Obi-Wan show, I guess,
yeah.
and we'll probably see him close to the Alec Guinness age, and we'll retroactively in our head,
Or they're
kind
going to
of-
interact at times in
I can
that
see
show.
that. I can see
That's
it
like
happening.
prior to what happens in The Mandalorian. So they save him, and he tells them, I'm trying to find a place for this youngling, to the Jedi. They have some cryptic looks between themselves. It's fun. Then they're like, cool, well, if you help me do this thing, I'll help you find the Jedi. I can tell you where one is.
Yeah.
So they go up. I thought it was a pretty fun action sequence stealing the ship. There was a lot of great like corridor blaster fire and cool
And
shit.
the stormtrooper guys, like the Empire, they suck.
They do suck.
But there was some really, really funny shit that happened. Like when they're like,
Close the
oh,
doors.
pirates, and then that stormtrooper slides across the fronts, like when they're in the control room.
Oh,
it's like, oh, it's
drop
pirates.
shit.
He goes,
Yeah.
"What?" You're like,
Yeah.
what kind of they had this look? Like that's great humor and like
Right. I liked it. It was good.
I loved it. And then the stuff with the cargo.
Cargo whole thing. What room
He's like,
did you
"What
lock
room
them
did
in?
you lock them in?
Yeah.
Cargo control.
That actor, I don't know whoever the Imperial officer was.
He looks familiar.
He's been in a lot of things. Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. I don't know his name top of my head, but he's in a lot.
Yeah, and then I love the little like the callback to like the cyanide fake tooth.
He was like
Yeah,
electricity.
electric one? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Force lightning fake tooth.
Yeah, it was.
Which sounds
The
way
Emperor.
worse than
Yeah.
a
Fries your
cyanide
brain.
pill.
Well, no, cyanide's
One
real
Monday a
painful, I
month, the
think.
Emperor's like giving a shipment. He's trying to electrocute all these things. They ship
Charge
it
them
off
up.
for
He's like,
cyanide pills.
Buy these if you get captured. You know, it's like,
I'm thinking like you're eating dinner and you accidentally take two out of a bite on the fork. You know?
Oh man, that would suck.
you and I both thought he was going to ram his throat into her blade.
Yeah, whenever he, you
I
feel
thought
that.
he was just going to go
Oh, yeah.
like that.
I did
was like,
too. Yeah, that was a.
But the ending of the episode, they capture the ship. Well, a big part of the reveal is that Bo-Katan reveals that they're trying to take back Mandalore.
Right.
She's trying to get
Yeah,
the dark saber so she can go to Mandalore and claim the rulership over it and bring it back to what she believes it should be. Love it.
Yeah.
And obviously introduces what I think will probably be maybe the main plot of this entire season at this point. We'll see. Or maybe it'll be a big part of the show going forward.
I think that's a season 3 thing, taking back Mandalore.
Could be.
I think this is obviously leading to when we got to the episode Ahsoka Tano.
Yes.
So
And they
that's
fucking
neat.
said her name. I was just like, I didn't think they were going to say her name. I thought they were going to be like,
I
oh,
did.
it's a.
I wonder if it'll be
They were-
one person who did the voice.
No,
it's,
they cast-
it's Rosario Dawson.
Is
yeah,
that the person who does the voice?
I'll
Oh.
show you.
No, yeah. Well, I hope she'll do well. But yeah, so then they reveal that they're going to find Ahsoka fucking Tano. And then for all of these reasons, I think this episode has been my favorite.
Oh, okay.
It just there's been
And
better
Clerks, right?
there's been better action. There's
Daredevil.
been better maybe plot points, but this episode connects it to so many cool things that were already from this episode. It feels like it really cemented the Mandalorian's place in like the bigger picture of Star Wars lore and like the narrative of the Star Wars universe, right? Like, but first we're like, okay, he's trying to get Baby Yoda back, but where does he fit in within like all of these? Like, he's in a very interesting part of history, and we know a lot of things that already happened. We know a lot that's going to happen. So how does he fit into what we know is going on at this time? And now I finally feel like, oh, now I understand. Now it's going to be about him wrestling with what he was told, what was Mandalorian versus what theoretically the authority, I would say the
his
authority.
ideals versus what everyone else is telling him, basically.
I would more say it's like what he was told what was Mandalorian culture versus what the people that have the authority on what Mandalorian culture is. I mean, they created it. They were the originators of
But
what it became.
does bring the question, which I mean,
I think he's going to end
I
up.
hope he doesn't, but because I would like it if he doesn't just automatically be like, well, this is it. Then I got to go with you guys.
I think it'll be
It'll take a long time.
It will always be a balance.
I would
think
like if
he
it's
will-
a hybrid.
That's what I'm
between the
saying.
two.
I think again, either his mask will be forced off, and he'll have to struggle with that.
Yeah.
Or he'll take it off. He'll willingly take it off at some point, but then still follow some of the code of his old people.
I will.
It'll be a mix. That's what I think. Will
I
happen.
will only be okay with it if he takes it off to save Baby Yoda.
That was my prediction.
If he's like,
was a good
if
call.
they're like, hey, we're gonna blow this kid's head all over the windshield here, and they're like, they go, let you take that. And if he does it to do that, and then he just kills everybody, I'm like, all right, that's cool. That makes sense because that's cool to me. If he's like, oh, he's sacrificing something he actually cares about, but then if he just like gets over it
Yeah.
and takes it off, I don't like this. But if he's actually like, no, I actually care about this, but like I'm forced to do this to do something like it's even higher, then that's cool.
No, I
because
think
that's actually sacrificing.
I think it will be. I don't think it will be a willingly thing. I think it will be a very hard decision for him, and I also think that it may not be his decision. You know what I'm saying?
Someone will rip it off his head.
At this, I agree, I thought it was season 1. I totally agreed with you, and my theory was very similar to yours.
Right.
At this point, I mean, honestly, from what they introduced in episode 3, just the other plots in play, I have a different thinking now. I think he's going to be a huge part of the retaking of Mandalore. which I think could also involve his clan in that battle. Like his clan may want to come take it over for themselves or something, and he may have to choose a side.
Two sides.
Choose a side, and I could see the helmet removal being a big like he's choosing the side to go. Like it could be something like that.
What is it? Bo-Katan? What's her name?
Yeah,
That's her
Bo-Katan.
name.
Well, I could see it would be cool if she had to fight the armor lady then.
I think she's dead, isn't she?
Well, she didn't show her die.
Oh, that's right. She's like the only one left after the massacre.
Yeah.
In
And
season 1.
And then people that come up on her, she beats them.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true.
How do you guys think the Ahsoka Tano will play into this?
I think obviously he will find her. I'm really curious.
Could be a Force ghost.
It could be.
It won't be a Force ghost. I'm really curious.
It won't be.
If what her personality will be like, because she had some appearances in Rebels, but I haven't watched much of those. I don't really know what she was like in there. Her arc in Clone Wars is just so good. So
It is.
She is
By the end of it.
Anakin's apprentice all the way through, and it starts out playful, and she's young, and she's dumb, and
Yeah.
she's an apprentice. By the end of it, she's her own Jedi.
Yeah.
But then she gets framed for an attack on like an assassination. The Jedi Council don't side with her; they kind of side with that. What's amazing, you know who's investigating it? Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin. He's not a Grand Moff at this time, but the guy from episodes of A New Hope, the guy that blows up Alderaan, he's like the lead investigator on the case.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
It's so fun. But
This-
she ends up leaving the Jedi Order because she's like, "Fuck you guys! Like you didn't believe me.
Yeah.
I told you I didn't do this." And she ends up proving herself innocent.
Yeah.
But she's like, "No, fuck this. I'm not going to be a Jedi. I'm not about this anymore. Something's
Yeah.
fucked up here."
Well, that's like what Yoda says, right?
What do you mean?
There should be no more Jedi.
What does he say?
Episode 8. He burns it
Oh,
down.
wow. Yeah, we don't count that.
Yeah.
Keep referencing things that don't
Yeah.
count. No,
Hey, I don't like them, but that's how it is.
so all that to say is, we kind of the last time we significantly had time with Ahsoka, she was kind of a jaded, like, and even when we got,
We see her in Rebels, and we see her fighting Darth Vader in Rebels.
She's like,
Well,
you're
and
not,
we
you're not
did-
Anakin, right?
and we got
Yeah,
her in
you're
that,
the same
that
person.
final season of Clone Wars, watching her deal with the Order 66 happening in real time, and that
Right.
obviously leaves her we leave her in like a sad place. She's like had to kill a bunch of her friends.
In episode 3, wasn't there like a deleted scene where she was supposed to get killed or something?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't
there-
think so.
there was a moment or something she was shot where she was.
It didn't make it through. It didn't make
In
it.
episode 3?
No, no.
Revenge of the Sith?
No, there was a Jedi that's in 1 and 2 that was going to get killed on camera in 3, and they took it
That
off.
wasn't her, though.
It wasn't Ahsoka Tano.
I thought what I thought was there was a rumor that she was going to have an actual appearance in Rise of Skywalker. And they did use her voice.
her voice was in it.
is in it.
Yeah, when at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
But there was there was those rumors about Force ghosts.
And people have asked Dave Filoni.
Does this
which
mean
we'll
she's
get,
dead?
We'll get to, and he said that it doesn't have to be. She's dead.
And I think
One
that means
thing I will
she's
say
not.
this is that, and we thought this last season, but Clone Wars ending, him getting to come back and do a final season, and also him coming in and being involved in the show. Clearly, his footprints all over. If maybe John Favreau is like the shepherd, and he's like probably just sucking Dave Filoni's brain apart in a great way. But Dave Filoni is getting to basically make a sequel to. He's getting to make a sequel to Clone Wars. To
Well, and Ahsoka
Rebels,
Tano is his baby.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Ahsoka Tano, he's the creator of
he
that
created
character.
Ahsoka Tano. Yeah,
And so he's the most familiar with her. And
Yeah.
and she really, I would say she is the most demanded character to be live action. Like of all the characters that have been in TV shows and whatnot that haven't ever made to movies, I think she's one of the ones. She's the most popular characters in Star Wars that isn't in a movie.
right.
Back real quick, I'm going to finish my thought real quick. I think what this is leading to is, I think obviously there's going to be something that has like the Mando's going to have to help Ahsoka in some kind of challenge, in something, in some way. There's going to be something he has to do for her or with her,
Earn her respect.
something, right?
But also, you wonder not because if she has Baby Yoda, well, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's
Well,
jaded by it all. I don't know.
yeah, that's. I mean, she could be cutting herself off from the Force at this point
Do you think
to hide herself.
Commander Rex will be there?
That'd be interesting. I don't know. I don't think so.
You think Captain
I don't
Rex
think so
versus
because
Boba Fett?
because Rex and them are
I mean, it'd be neat. But also, I
they're
saw
in
one thing.
Rebels. Well, no, this is pre-Rebels, so yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Could
Would
be.
it? I saw one thing that's interesting. Like a theory is like the reason Darth Vader hired Boba Fett and kept him around was because he
That's a great
it's
theory.
the
Had the same voice.
same voice as Rex.
I saw that. That was
theory.
cute. I liked that.
Yeah.
I consider that canon.
And
I like it so much.
I mean, he'd have to recognize
Yeah, you'd have to.
So I would say that where I think this is ultimately leading, and I agree, this might be end of season 3. This might be the end of the goddamn show. This could be like season finale shit, taking back Mandalore, because he's a Mandalore. That's like a huge part of his character.
Yeah.
Mandalore, the planet, right? I think that by the end we will have some sort of Mando, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan team up, because Ahsoka and Bo-Katan teamed up several times to take back Mandalore, and it will be kind of a big battle. It won't be kind of like the end of season 1 where they're like squaring off against a few like troop groups. It'll be like, we're bringing all our team. They're bringing all our team. Here's Ahsoka with her lightsaber. There's Giancarlo Esposito with the dark saber.
I feel like Carl Esposito, he just couldn't keep up with him.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man, you're not like a physical combatant.
No, he's not a Jedi.
You know what I mean? I see him, I'm like, man, I feel like anyone could beat him.
Yeah,
they
I
just
agree.
actually fought him in fair time.
I mean, he could be. What's the thing that it's kind of a weird thing that kind of insert them into like extended canon, but they're like in Jedi Fallen Order. They're like the Inquisitors.
Inquisitors. No,
Could he be an
those came about in
No, I know that,
Rebels.
but I'm saying it's something that
Or-
they're like, there's no more Jedi, but these guys are around. I'm talking about through like the original trilogy, and like those guys are still technically around, I think, at some point.
Well, the Inquisitors.
Like there's people like that.
Well,
Looks
they're
like
they're
they're
dark
all-
Jedi.
Fallen Order, right?
They're
Yeah.
dark Jedi. They're Jedi that are trained by the Emperor and Vader to just hunt other
Right.
Jedi.
That's what I'm saying, but like they're.
I mean, they're Sith.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I mean, there's that whole weird thing.
That's not-
Technically, the Sith part is a very religious part of using the dark side of the Force, but
Yeah.
you can use the dark side of the Force and not be a Sith.
Right.
We've kind of used those words to lump, the Sith versus the Jedi.
Like Force Unleashed, you used to use that lightning dude,
Right.
and then he turns to a Jedi.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and even he's kind of quasi Jedi, maybe but yeah, there's this kind of, we say Sith, but that really has more of a dark Lord of
religious
the
thing.
Sith is a
Yeah.
very, and typically incredibly powerful. You might meet a dark Jedi and they're just a dark Jedi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and whatnot.
I will say this. I think that, and I've thought this since I saw the dark saber in the last episode. I'm like, well, to me, the ultimate end game for the show would be not ultimate. I'm saying from my perspective, but from what I think they could go is you have Baby Yoda with the dark saber. He's an adult, but wearing Mandalorian armor,
Yeah,
and
and helmet.
they give him a movie series. They give him his own show. He's an adult. 500 years from now, it's the start of the next phase of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, and I think that's the smart thing to do. You go 500 years in the future. That way, you're kind of away from the Skywalker shit.
Everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here,
But
I'm just having. I mean, the problem is, Baby Yoda as an adult is still going to be the size of normal Yoda.
Yeah, but Yoda's a good Jedi, dude.
He is, but him
he's
walking
already-
around in
he's
Mandalorian
already-
armor
I
is
mean-
going to look cute, not bad.
I'm sure there's a way they can make it cool. I mean,
Yeah.
if people can get behind Yoda being cool, then because he's cool.
Yeah.
I'm saying that could be, to me. I can see that as a last shot, and he could be unquote the Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it could be him. Not,
he's, and they could the
Yeah.
show will be like, it was our plan the whole time 5 years
he's
ago.
a family. Yeah,
He's the
this is
he's
the
the-
Mandalorian.
He was the Mandalorian the whole time. Anyway,
I mean, I could also see, because
not this Mandalorian.
there's been a lot of rumors
Yeah.
about,
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
there's been a lot of rumors about Ahsoka Tano series, or has it been confirmed?
it's not
All but
been
confirmed?
yes. That,
Okay. I don't know. I could see a universe where Baby Yoda gets passed from the Mando TV show to the Ahsoka TV show,
It could happen.
where she starts training him as a Jedi. Maybe
then-
after a couple seasons with him still being with Mando.
I'm
Maybe
not
if Mando ends up staying on Mandalore to kind of be a presence there, or be, I don't know. And then
I think Mando's path, either he's going to die doing something for Baby Yoda, or he will end up becoming like almost like a Nick Fury character, where he's in these movies and he's like a cool supporting character.
what if it becomes Mandalore?
It's very possible. That's.
I mean, I kind of don't want it. It feels a little too like,
Technically, he is
He
a
goes
Mandalorian,
from-
right? And he's a pact of two.
no, but Mandalore is the leader of the Mandalorians. And it
Oh,
was an actual person named that, and then it became a title.
so the planet was named after him.
Yeah. And
Mandalorian.
Mandalore is like
That's
this
cool.
like legendary warrior in their eyes that started the race and the culture and all that stuff and led them into battles and the empire that they became. But after he passed, it just became like a title. Now whoever's the leader of the Mandalorians
like,
is
that's
Mandalore.
That's the king.
Yeah.
It's like instead of a king, you're the man.
I do think that if that's
like-
the path they go of changing Baby Yoda to passing him off, I think that either we'll just stop talking about the Mando story, or Mando will die, because at this point,
Yeah.
it's so ingrained. Their
It'll be
relationship
for,
is
for
No,
the
I could-
Mandalorian to be separated from him. He probably has to be dead.
I could totally see that. I could see the
'Cause it'd be weird
Mandalorian
if he's
lasting.
Like, all right, you get the kid. Now.
yeah, it's a buddy cop show.
Yeah, I could see the Mandalorian lasting maybe 4 seasons. I don't see this going beyond maybe 5 at all.
I hope they don't go beyond 5.
I
Just-
agree.
Duff
Maybe
gets way too stretched out. Even if they ended at 3 or 4.
Well, I'll caveat that if they've got great stories to tell, go as long as you fucking want. But if we're starting to scrap bottoms of barrels, we need to cut it off there.
that's not problem. Because the farther you go, the more likely you are to. I mean, you're drinking your own Kool-Aid at a certain point.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, oh yeah, this is great, but then
It's true.
That's
It's true.
That's why
The real
Star
test
Wars
will be
real
the
good, but also there's 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, So, yeah.
All that to say, I could see a version where the end of the series finale of Mandalore involves what you're saying, some sort of laying down his life in the siege of Mandalore, to take it back. Maybe he sacrifices himself so Bo-Katan can live to become the new leader of the Mandalorians, and we got the Mandalorians back. But I could still see at that point, that's when the Ahsoka Tano show starts.
Yes, sir.
It
That'd be
starts like
fine.
right after Mandalorian, and she's with Baby Yoda now.
And if the Mandalorian doesn't like take his helmet off until like near the, if he doesn't like start, like if it's like the last couple episodes, he's like, I've got to do this, and does something that's the end, and he dies. Cool. I just don't want him to be like, all right, let's get my ship and take his helmet off. And like, let's go.
I don't think he will,
I
because
could
his
see-
character is so
I agree.
stoic.
it's so
Like that's what I like, because he's a guy with like a code.
But one thing
He's
is
cool.
saying that, I do feel like in this third episode, we got a little more Pedro Pascal being kind of more relaxed in the role, maybe like more like kind of more less stoic, and just his mannerisms, the way he's saying stuff, like we're coming in, like it sounded more like less badass Mandalorian,
Oh,
and
yeah.
more kind of not emotion, but more a little motion. Well,
I do feel like we're getting
bad
a
way.
more. There's more depth to Mandalorian with his helmet on this season than was last season.
Yes.
Just in terms of how he
Yeah,
talks,
yeah.
in terms of just, I think that's probably Pedro Pascal's comfortability with the character.
I think so, too.
Getting familiar with
And
the-
you just
all
know
that
the
stuff.
character better.
Sure, but I really do feel like I'm listening to, like, I feel like I'm, like, when he speaks.
Pedro Pascal, I don't even know you're there,
I'm like-
dude. That's how good of an actor he is, guys. I don't know what you're dissing him for.
What?
I just
love him.
see the Mandalorian. You guys are like, that's Pedro Pascal. I said no.
No, I'm not saying that, but
That's
like
that's
his voice, it's just, I
got
still
a
feel
great-
like I'm getting, because I think Pedro Pascal is a phenomenal actor.
He has got a great.
In Narcos, he's amazing.
He's got a great cowboy voice,
He does.
which is what he is the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
but
why it's like.
I feel like I'm getting more from him right now in just, like you said, Donovan, those little interactions or things he says than I was at all last season, maybe.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I think we all can probably agree that we're enjoying this season. I mean, again, it's
really good.
even the episodes that I call filler, they're so good, it doesn't matter, because it's just as good as non-filler episodes. You know, like
And I wouldn't say just as good.
I would say the first 2 episodes, or I would say the first episode is better than the third episode.
I personally disagree. I got
No,
way
I
more
get-
out
yeah,
of
yeah.
episode 3 just as a
But
Star
'cause
Wars.
You're a Star Wars super fan.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean,
watched a lot and read a
know
lot.
A little bit, but just as someone just to casually watch something.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's bigger
I
spectacle.
agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But for me, this is the first time where I finished an episode of Mandalorian, season 1, season 2, and I'm like, give me the next episode
to the next.
now.
Yeah.
Now.
That's why. That's why.
This is the first time I've been that way, because in the past I'm like, oh, that was fun. I
Yeah.
guess we'll see what happens next week,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
but,
how I've
But now I'm
always-
just like,
yeah.
what? I need it. Like I'm
But
just
you
like
think on it though. It's fun.
salivating. Yeah,
It's good.
And
Isn't
I
it
like
great
that.
to have a Star Wars content that we will want to watch?
Yeah, no joke. Like I've not been stoked for Star Wars. And
Well, that's-
Isn't that
a
cool?
long
And I
time.
think that too is what excites me so much about this episode. And it's really it's a bigger thing than just the Mandalorian, but it's like it's the first time that Disney, Lucasfilm, whatever, has decided to
They've done something
invest
fun. Yeah.
into something that was created outside of live action. Like this is the first time that I can remember in Star Wars that they've been like, these awesome characters and worlds and things were created in a cartoon, and they're so fucking good. Let's bring them into live action big Star Wars. And I hope this is the start of a continuing trend of that, because there is some fucking gold in some of those cartoons, some of the old comics, some of the old novels.
Oh, yeah.
That if they just would look there, it's just sitting there ready to be amazing.
Because as of right now, they're like, well, the old books and stuff, like as of right now, aren't like canon.
No, they're
right?
called legends, which means
But
they're
they
like
could be-
legends of the universe,
Yeah.
which basically means they can pick and choose what they want to use.
Yeah, okay,
and they
yeah.
don't use what they don't want to use. Is
Yeah.
basically what that ends up being. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Daniel, how can our listeners write into us?
You can write into bit dot. Excuse me. No, that's right. That's right.
That's what
Mike's
That's
getting
right.
on.
That's right. bit.ly/2for1mail. There you can write in. I'd love to know what you guys think about these first 3 episodes. Are you more on my side where you're like, give us all the lore and shit? Or are you more like the monster of the week spectacle stuff? Because I think both are completely valid. I think that
There's different.
both audiences
Yeah.
can get everything they want out of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So far, at least. Let us know. bit.ly/2for1mail.
And of course, for all your Podcast 241 needs, go to podcast241.com. And as always, go to the YouTube channel. Best place to consume the content. Like and subscribe. Leave us comments there as well. We'll get back to you. Matt, how can our listeners find you on Instagram?
Put it in the description.
We'll do that. Can we go ahead and announce what's coming up, even though they're
Yeah, we
coming
should.
out soon? Matt, go ahead and tell people what you'll be doing on the channel.
Currently, I've been working with these two fools on 241 Collectors,
He said it right. You'll see in upcoming blooper reels that
which I do like the blue reviews.
unique.
As someone who hates hearing their own voice and seeing themselves, like pretty much probably everyone who watches this, it is real fun. So
Can you explain a little,
Before
just a
that.
small bit what it is?
yeah, I'm a man child, so I like collect a lot of stuff. It's real fun, and just showing different things for people that collect things and talking about things. It's not really like a review. It's more of a just like, hey, look at this, like you would do with like a buddy or something. So I think it's really cool. I think the format looks really, really neat. So it should be pretty fun.
That's awesome. I think it'll be some good content down the road, and I think people are really going to respond to
Yeah,
it.
I'm
I
very
bet they'll
excited.
respond to that more so than this podcast.
I'm very excited for people to see it.
I am too. And it's looking great. We'll put it out very
It does
soon.
look good.
So anyway, guys, thank you guys for being here. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Daniel, for recording all 3 of our voices.
Yeah, you're
and,
Oh yeah, all 3 were these cautions, guys.
and as always, my name is Donovan Thompson.
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
I'm Matt Mitchell, as always.
And
I guess he was expecting you to outro him too because you introed him.
that's true. I set up expectations. And of course, perfect because of what we're talking about, we have